You are listening to the CADDle Call podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of ZenTek Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The CADDle Call podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the CADDle Call podcast with Jim and Rocco from ZenTek Consultants. I am Jim, your bombastic host, and with me, as always, is my partner,
Rocco.
All right, and this is a very special and unusual episode for us. This is our actual 200th episode of the CADDle Call. So we have actually been doing this for a little bit over 4 years now, man. Can you believe it's been that long?
That's a long time. I think we should have like balloons blasting or something.
Oh, I have those. I have balloons and strippers and bourbon going here. I just didn't invite you.
You see how he is, guys. He doesn't even invite me.
But yeah, this is going to be an unusual thing. Is that usually when we do the podcast, folks, we have a topic and we do like a little bit of a mini script so we know what we're going to talk about. And we're really not going to do that today. We're just going to kind of work our way through this and talk a little bit about us and ZenTek and the podcast and how we got here and what we're doing. And I even tried to pass off the engineering joke of the week to Rocco, but he begged out of it. He doesn't want to do it. So I will tell and torture you all, right, in place of Rocco today. So Rocco, you ready for the engineering joke of the week?
I'm ready.
Okay, ready? Why did the software engineer go broke?
Why?
Because he spent all of his cash. There you go. Absolutely terrible, as always. That's what we do. Oh, my goodness. So at this point, so we're 4 years into 200 episodes into the podcast. And it's really funny because we only started about halfway into, when we've been running ZenTek, right? So we were about 4 years in on ZenTek when we started the CADDle Call. So we're like 8 years plus now, or just about 8 years, I guess, into business. So I thought, a good place to start, let you kind of kick in here a little bit and talk about, who we are and what we did and how did we even get started, man? I'm an old man. I barely remember back that far.
So how did we get started with the podcast, or how did we get started?
Let's start with Zen. How did we get started as a company?
Oh, well, yeah, we go back a while, right? I mean, Jim and I worked together at an Autodesk partner, believe it or not, years ago. And, the Autodesk channel, it seems like the Autodesk channel is evolving every day, but it certainly evolved back then in late 2016. There were a lot of mergers going on. And for Jim and I, it was either, become part of middle management or kind of move on and try our own thing. And we were both kind of tired of being middle management. And had a lot of experience under our belt, and so said, hey, why don't we try to do this together? And of course, being the conservative, scaredy cat that I am, I don't know, Jim, I don't know, can we really do this?
And me being the absolutely opposite, craze, charge at everything, we can absolutely do this 100% nightmare that Rocco has to deal with.
So I gave into the idea, and what helped me is my personal family background is all my siblings have either owned or have owned businesses, and so I was like, well, if they can do it, why can't I do it with Jim? So
the problem is they didn't have Jim as a lodestone around their neck, dude. What were you thinking? Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, that was a while ago. I remember that. We were, it was like I said, there's an ongoing conversation we had for quite a while of me saying, hey, we should do this. And for, I think, like the first 6-8 months, Rocco thought I was just kidding. It was like one of those like, oh man, we should go to Bermuda for the weekend kind of things. And then one day I think he was just truly annoyed at some of the stuff we were having to deal with, and he just looked at me over lunch. He's like, "Were you serious?" And I was like, "Yes, I was absolutely serious. And if you want to do that, we'll start tomorrow." So we just kind of jumped in with both feet, never really looking back. Though there are a lot of days now where Rocco looks back and says, "Well, middle management probably wasn't such a bad choice."
Yeah.
Could have worked out well for you, man. And yet here you are. You silly, silly man.
Well, there's always the shoulda, woulda, coulda, but we are where we are, and I don't regret it. I definitely don't. It's stressful, and but there's ups and downs to any job, any career, but I don't regret it. That's for sure.
Nah, same here. I mean, it's a different kind of stress for me, at least. There's no anger involved in it. This is just stress of like, hey, we got to make business. You got payroll. You got projects that have to be delivered. It's that kind of stress, and I don't seem to mind that as much. It's the bureaucratic everyday. People are doing things that are wrong. Kind of go home driving angry, whipping lanes across the parkway and endangering lives. Kind of stress that I don't deal with anymore, which I think is a definite positive. So.
Yeah. Now, how we started the podcast, I mean, that's a different question because, I kind of came kicking and screaming into this, and I think of my friend Peter that I talk to every now and then. You know who you are out there. He tells me every now and then when he calls me, he's like, "Hey, does Jim let you get a word in there every now and then?"
Well, that's what this episode is for. It actually lets you say something.
There you go. But yeah, I was quite hesitant to start the podcast because my technical abilities can only go so far. Having a background in sales and marketing and operations, and just the idea of publicly just chatting, and talking about things. I don't know about this.
Yeah, but from my standpoint, I mean, I thought it was a good idea, right? It was an ability to get to talk to people, talk about what we do, talk to our clients, give them something of interest, that they can listen to on a regular basis. But I couldn't do it alone. I can't, I'm really good at talking. I'm good with public presentations, again, out in front of folks, and that's what I do, all the time. But there's something really, really tough about sitting alone in a room and talking to yourself. I mean, usually when I do that, they show up with a straitjacket and take me away to the padded room. That's happened a few times. But having someone else on the other end of the line who I can at least, have a conversation with and bounce some jokes off of and make fun of now and again, that makes this a whole lot easier for me. This would have been much harder without you. So I'm glad you finally gave in.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah, so let's talk about the business in general. Like I say, 8 years in business. Hey, listen, we're not taking over the world yet. We're not poor. I don't think Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are really sweating us. But we're still here. We're still kicking. We're still breathing. And it has been a journey, man. And it just so much stuff happened and has come across our desk. Things that kind of blew my mind. Things that I just didn't know about. What have you learned about, I guess, running a business that you just never expected?
I guess the evolution, you think you're going to start at, point A, and where you are in the middle of the road and where you end up is could be entirely different. I mean, we envisioned, Jim and I both live in New Jersey. I'm in North Jersey. Jim is in Central Jersey, and we envisioned, opening up an office and Jim traveling all over and supporting customers until we grew the business, and then, hiring folks to work for us. And, well, that went out the window, I mean, we're basically an entirely digital company, and we envisioned working the tri-state area of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and here we are. We're a national firm, and we've actually got a separate company in ZenTek Canada. So yeah, where we envision being small and, working local. We're now all over the place. So that's, you know, that's part of it. I guess the other is just the evolution of some of the technology that we've kind of weaved into what we've been doing day to day. A lot has stayed with us from day one, and a number of technology solutions have weaved out of our, daily workflow and what we do for customers. And at the end of the day, it comes down to business and profits and, the interests of customers. And some of the solutions that we're no longer work with, we've kind of parted ways with them just purely from the financial standpoint. And, we just didn't see the sales growth. So, but we're still in touch with a lot of those folks that we've been in touch with over the years. It's a small industry, it's a niche, but it's still small. What are your thoughts, Jim?
I guess I think the thing that really I learned that I didn't expect about running a business was that a good idea, no matter how good it is, it's not enough. I worked for a lot of years. Like I said, I'm the tech guy, right? I know how to take and make things work and optimize systems and just like, wow, this is brilliant. This is going to save so much time and money. Everybody's just going to jump at the chance to do this thing. And then you do it, and it's like, now I got to let people know about it. Now I got to demo it. Now I got to convince people. I got to get people on the line. We've got to, push it and market it and sell it. And that's the area that I had I was a lot less experience in, even when we were working together, back in the Autodesk days. It just wasn't my side of the business. I would do the good ideas and the presentations, and I'm like, why aren't we selling more of those? It's a brilliant idea. Now I realize that, boy, that's not an easy thing. That's a real uphill battle. Just getting people to take a few moments out of their crazy days to listen to my, wonderful new idea that's going to, revolutionize their lives. Everybody's not always that thrilled about new concepts and big changes. So I think that was the biggest thing that I learned. Part of me really thought that, if you build a better mousetrap, right, the world will beat a path to your door. Yeah, that's BS. That does not happen. You got to build a better mousetrap, and then you got to go out hunting people to get them to look at your mousetrap. So
that's for sure.
Yeah, that part of the business I really was not expecting. It's a section that I just completely caught me blindsided. I figured, hey, it'll take a year or two for us to get up and running, but with all of these brilliant ideas we have and all of this good stuff that we know how to do, we're going to be, billionaires in like 3 months, and then we'll be able to retire. What'd you do with all the billions, Rocco?
I don't know.
Listen, if you can loan me $1.50 for coffee, I'll be happy. Oh my goodness.
Well, it's interesting because, you have to have ideas, you have to have vision, and there have been ideas that Jim had brought to the surface that I've been like, oh God, I don't know, this isn't gonna work, but
like this podcast.
We have to try it, right? I mean, I think that in general, I personally, I try to have a pretty open mind, and I've always said to Jim, well, if you don't have a vision and you don't have ideas, then that's a problem in itself in business, right? You have to be able to, be willing to try things. And, Jim's had a lot of bad ideas, and so have I,
Absolutely have.
So you definitely have to be willing to try stuff. And like I said, there have been a lot of ideas that have surprised us, that have taken off, that people actually buy into.
Sometimes I'm surprised. I'm like, holy crap, that worked. That one was a throwaway idea. I really didn't think we'd get anywhere with that. But yeah, that surprises me sometimes too. The things that do go and the things that don't. It's, it's one thing about running the business. You're never bored. Every day is just new surprises, and nothing ever quite works out how you plan it. So it is kind of interesting with that. So I'll tell you what, let me ask you this, Rocco. Let's kind of spin it a little bit on it. So what is, to your mind, the worst part of running ZenTek? What do you like the least in what we do?
I guess the financial worries of, are we going to be around in 6 months? Are we going to be around in a year? Are we going to have a good month or a bad month? Like that's just something that, I whether we have $1 million in the bank or $500,000 or 100,000, I just, me, I always worry about finances. So that's probably the hardest part for me personally and at the end of the day, we have a family, and I personally, unfortunately, don't have a family, but we have a ZenTek family, to support and to make sure that they grow and they stay with us, and some of them have kids, and so that personally that weighs on me. I'd say every day, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that's definitely an issue. Though I am going to point out that, Jamie, your wife, is going to be a little ticked off when you point out that she didn't have a family. So, I mean, I think she qualifies, doesn't she?
She does. She does.
I'm going to say, because I know she can kick your ass.
Yeah.
So, no, I get that. I mean, those are definitely major concerns for me as well. I mean, I will say that for me, the part of the business that I really wasn't expecting and I disliked the least is the bureaucracy that has to go into it, right? It's the taxes and the insurances and the regulations and the reportings and the banking stuff. You know what I mean? All of that paperwork and dealing with people and phone calls and meetings and reviews. I was just floored. Like I said, you and I were, the place we were working, we thought we were running the business. And we were, right? We were doing all the dealing with the clients, all the day-to-day operational stuff, but we weren't dealing with all of that back-end regulatory insurances and 401k crap. Oh, God, I hate it. I just hate it. It just makes me, every time you call me, like, oh, we got to talk to the accountant. Oh, we got to talk to this, government. Oh, we got to talk to the insurance agent. I just start banging my head against the wall. Do I really have to? Can't you just do this? Oh, goodness. So, yeah, everybody's got their areas, I guess, that they like and dislike. So, I tell you what, why don't we take a quick break here? This way we can get some sponsors in here to make us some money. And then when we get back, I'm going to ask you the opposite question, man. So, be ready for that. So, stand by, folks. We're going to be back in just a minute with more of the CADDle Call podcast. All right, everybody. This is Jim and Rocco from ZenTek Consultants talking to you today about our ZenTek Bluebeam review tools. All right, our ZenTek review tools are an awesome way for you guys to be able to get out there and do some lightweight takeoffs on your projects. Look, Bluebeam Review in and of itself offers fast, simple, and accurate takeoff of all your building structures, right? But most of us still struggle with getting consistent output on each project. And that's where ZenTek Review Tools for Bluebeam comes in. It gives you a full suite of simple to use tools designed specifically for your own trade or industry that'll just show up right inside of everybody's Bluebeam in your entire company. We have sets for site work, structural, exteriors, interiors, even a set of tools specifically for general contractors, and more on the way. So Rocco, why don't you tell folks where they can find out more about our ZenTek review tools?
Yep, it's at ZenTekConsultants.net, and you can actually purchase them right off of our e-store if you want. Or if you want to talk to us, give us a call, 866-824-4459, or drop us an email, sales@ZenTekConsultants.net.
There you go, folks. ZenTek review tools exclusively from ZenTek Consultants. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CADDle Call podcast. We are on our 200th episode, and let's be honest, Rocco and I really could not think of any good topics to discuss that were really awe-inspiring. So we figured we'd just talk about ourselves because, I'm awe-inspiring. I don't know about Rocco, but I certainly am.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, see, ego never goes away. So we ended out the first half of the podcast talking about the worst part of running ZenTek. So I'm gonna kind of flip it the other way. We've had highs and lows, right? But what do you say? What's the best part of running ZenTek? What do you enjoy the most?
I guess it goes back to my my roots of just being in sales. Just interacting with customers day to day, and seeing an opportunity evolve from a call or an email to meetings and conversations and eventually a sale and them becoming a loyal customer of ours. I think that to me is one of the most rewarding parts of owning a business.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. That's a good approach. I think for me, what I really enjoy the most, and it's again, I guess we both kind of fall into our own specific areas, right? For what we enjoy the most, it makes perfect sense. My biggest joy, I think, is on the tech end, and it really is more dealing with our employees, right? Particularly our tech folks, watching them learn something new. You know what I mean? Picking up a new system, a new program, a new process that we brought on board, and then they go in and they learn it. And then they come back at me and they're so excited, and they're like, we can do this and then we can do that. And then I start like, oh, what if we took that and we combined it with this? And, this is kind of how we develop new systems and new offerings and stuff. And, I guess just my tech brain really loves that. Right, that I'm getting to work with a bunch of folks who are all really, really imaginative and get really excited by the same dorky things that I get excited by. So having a group of folks around me who are always looking for better ways to do stuff, it just makes for really fun conversations. And I think just overall, even moving beyond the tech guys, I have actually very surprised at how much I enjoy working with our employees. Just getting to know them, getting involved in their lives. Knowing what's going on with them. It's fun. Like I said, in my work career, right, I've always had people who I worked with, only a handful of people, who I really got close to, like Rocco, right, who we used to, work really, really well together. And it's kind of a different thing for me, right, to have folks who I genuinely care about and I genuinely want to, see every day and know what's going on with them. It's kind of a nice, relaxing environment for me. Certainly different from what I was used to in my corporate life. So I really do like that. So I guess that's kind of the best thing. So all right. So here this one I thought would be funny, Rocco. So I thought it'd be really nice for each of us to take a turn here and explain to the listeners what we think the other person does. Okay. So I'm going to start with you, and I want you to tell people, what does Jim actually do here at ZenTek on a daily basis?
Nothing.
All right, that was it. Thanks for joining us. Damn, he's found me out.
Oh, geez. Well, Jim manages the technical operations of ZenTek. Jim does an enormous amount of the demos and technical conversations that we have with customers. Sure as heck couldn't do it without him. That's for sure. I mean, the way that Jim engages with customers and is passionate about what he does day in and day out is what what really drives us to grow, right? I mean, people come back to us because of the skill set that Jim and our tech staff have. As we've grown, it's become our tech staff as well. It's not just Jim, but getting back to the core question, it's managing the day-to-day technical operations. Making sure that the back-end systems are all functioning and running from day to day. Making sure that our customers' technical needs are taken care of. Working with our team to develop new courses, new content, all the technical writing that's on our website, and in a lot of our emails that go out, Jim is involved with. And our director of marketing, of course, has a huge involvement from that perspective as well.
Yeah, big shout out to Anna, who didn't want to be on the show with us today. Yes, Anna, we're talking about you.
That's right.
So we asked her. She doesn't like being on recording, but she's huge, and we couldn't do it without her.
That's right. So yeah, I think that just about covers it off the top of my head.
Well, see, you were actually nice to me. That's good. I feel better about myself. Like I actually do something. Woohoo! So, all right. So I guess it's my turn to talk to you guys about Rocco and what Rocco does, right? And where Rocco says I do nothing, I think Rocco does everything. The reality is, right? Rocco is a machine. Rocco has the most incredible memory I've ever seen on any human being. He's like a computer in and of himself. He forgets nothing. And I depend on Rocco because I forget everything. I couldn't tell you what I had for lunch today. And Rocco just keeps everybody, the entire company, he keeps everybody on task. He's constantly monitoring schedules and emails and communicating with clients and setting up demos and meetings and, working all the back end stuff, all the sales, the orders, you're working with the accountants and the taxes and what's due when and what do we got to pay. And, it's just absolutely remarkable. I mean, he handles all of that stuff on the back end. His email list is never ending. Everybody in the company, just laughs about constantly that if you don't get at least 10 emails from Rocco a day, he's probably dead on the floor somewhere. So you better call. Rocco is just email mad. But he keeps us all in line. He makes sure that the things get done that need to get done when they get done. And I will say it's one of the huge benefits I think of having a partner. I couldn't even how people run businesses on their own is beyond me, because I think we both have areas that we're really good at, and we kind of couldn't do it without each other. You know what I mean? There's no way I could run the day-to-day business operations without knowing you're there to just handle all that. So I can focus on the tech side and the writing and the systems development and all the other things that we do. So.
Yeah, it's I guess a lot of sole proprietors, rely on they find people that they trust, right? I mean, some people use family, right? But that's that can either go positive or go negative.
Again, Jamie is listening. What are you doing, dude? She's gonna lay you out today.
Positive or negative? I didn't say which one. But I mean, some people just rely on hiring, outside people to help with everything. And there's a high level of trust that you need to have there, right? And we all have heard horror stories over the years, where they find money missing or, problems are uncovered, years down the road. So, I agree with you. Having a partner is definitely important, but having a partnership is also like having a marriage. There's a lot of, give and take and that you have to have, right? You definitely can't be someone who's stands your ground firm and I'm not budging, because particularly in a partnership, that doesn't get you anywhere.
No, it does not. There's a whole lot of compromise in dealing with stuff like this. And like I said, now we both seen it, right? We've worked at other companies, both of us, where there were partners involved. And, I've seen partners who didn't speak to each other. They would go, like 6-7 months without so much as sharing a word. Rocco and I, we're on the phone like 15-20 times a day. We do the podcast. We do weekly business meetings to make sure we're on top of everything. I don't know how people can do this without nonstop communication.
Yeah, I agree.
It's absolutely nuts. So I will say I was nice, Rocco. I let you finish out the marriage analogy without jumping in with the joke I wanted, which is, and no sex. So there's definitely no sex between partners. See, and this is why you worry about letting me run these shows on my own. So this is why we need a script. So Rocco can edit this stuff in advance and go, no, you're not talking about that today. Oh, all right, fine. See, one of the other benefits of having a partner, he can usually reel me in. Because if left to my own devices, I just go right to the gutter. It's what I do, folks. Sorry, It's a thing. So, so it's good. So look, we're at episode 200, which means, like I said, we've been doing this podcast for a little bit over 4 years. So we're no plans on ending it. I see us going for as long as we're here running ZenTek. So let me ask you this: where do you think, or where do you want ZenTek to be when we get to our 300th episode? That's about 2 years out.
It just a slow and steady growth. That's the bottom line, and that we're happy doing what we do. The reality is that you don't. It's not easy growing a business, and most people don't become millionaires and billionaires. The important thing is to run a business with honesty and respect, and your customers respect you. You grow and you're happy with what you do every day. So it's not a clear vision here that I'm outlining, right? And we're not here to disclose a full business plan here, but from my perspective, it's just slow and steady growth and happiness for us, for our employees, and for our customers.
Yeah, which is not a bad place to target, And I'm kind of in agreement with you there, I mean, I'm hoping in 2 years, right? I want to see us grow a little bit more. Listen, we're about a dozen people now. I'd like to see us grow a little bit more, because what I would like to see, we have been just, knock wood, right? Extraordinarily lucky in the people that we have found to work with us. They're all so good at what they do, and they're all really nice people who work really, really hard for us. And I'd like to get us into a position where those people are management, you know what I mean? Where they've got people working for them who they can, treat properly and really, foster a nice environment where everybody has the opportunity to, get, hopefully, a good fair wage and good working conditions and feel that they're valued and important in what they do. So a lot of it, I think I'm with you, right? It's about making sure that you're doing it the right way. Poor Rocco listens to me all the time. And listen, I've got a little bit of a communist streak, Marxist streak running through me, folks, even though I'm a business owner. I hate corporations. I think corporations are terrible. I talk about the benefits of company over corporation all the time. Poor Rocco has to listen to me with my spiels every week. But the reality is that I like companies, right? I like people who own a company who are providing a valuable service or a valuable commodity to their clients. They're treating their employees fairly. Everybody's getting a chance to grow their families and grow their lives and improve their lot. And then they get the opportunity to help the people coming up behind them. And to me, I think that's the real end goal of running a company. I mean, look, yes, the idea of hitting the $1 billion project and living the life with the private jets and okay, yeah, everybody's dream. It's like hitting a lottery. One in a billion people or one in a billion companies will ever get that opportunity. And look, I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't say no. Someone wants to offer me $1 billion, I'm gonna take it. But it's not really where I see us being. I just like us to be on really, really solid footing where everybody feels that they're making a fair amount of money for the work that they're doing. And that, hopefully, since, Rocco and I, we're getting older. Now, Rocco's a little bit younger than me. But, I'm getting up there. I can see 60 just over the horizon. So there is some retirement up there ahead. I'd like at some point to be able to consider doing that. But there's no major rush on that. Because I said, for the most part, I get up in the morning with a smile on my face. It's not a big thing for me to, jump online, log in the computer, get on the phone with Rocco and start, addressing what's up for today. It's kind of fun, Like I said, the stress has no anger in it. It's just production stress. So that's just kind of where I'd like to see us get to. So,
good.
All right, cool. So anything else you want to say to the folks before we wrap it up here on our 200th episode?
If you're listening and you got something interesting to talk about, we always welcome guests. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, anybody wants to talk. Yeah. Hey, what email do you use to get in touch with you if they want to be on the podcast or have ideas for episodes?
I'll give you my personal email address is RoccoP, it's ROCCOP at ZenTekConsultants.net.
There you go. Email directly to Rocco. And I'll polish it off just by saying thank you. It really means a lot to us. We're surprised at how many people actually listen to this podcast. We get on calls with folks all the time. Like, oh, I listen to your podcast. I'm like, oh, okay. It's great. You know, we feel like we're just two chuckleheads sitting here alone talking to each other through a microphone. But you guys do. You all take the time to listen and you get back to us and you talk to us about it and you share these podcasts with other people and on LinkedIn and it is very much appreciated. We're glad that you guys are getting some good value on it and we hope that you'll be around for our 300th episode. Hey, and with that, sir, I think we're out of here, Rocco. Say goodbye to the good people.
Goodbye, good people.
Goodbye,
Thank you.
good people. We'll catch you next time on the CADDle Call podcast. All right, everybody. Today's CADDle Call was brought to you courtesy of ZenTek Consultants. That's Rocco and I. ZenTek Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. ZenTek strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to ZenTek?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through ZenTekConsultants.net. You can email us at sales@ZenTekConsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.